Imagine a single user who can create a vendor, submit a purchase order, and approve a payment, all through Fiori apps on the same launchpad. No one designed it that way on purpose. It happened because Fiori role assignments were made app by app without checking for cross-application conflicts, and it is one of the top findings in SAP audit reports. In traditional SAP GUI environments, SOD analysis was mature, but Fiori introduces a new layer, app-level access mapped through OData services, catalogs, and tiles that do not map one-to-one to classic authorization objects. Today, we will walk through how to build a Fiori-specific SOD conflict matrix and integrate it with SAP GRC Access Control for automated risk analysis. In the SAP GUI world, SOD analysis was straightforward. Map transaction codes to authorization objects, define conflict rules, and run risk analysis. First, a single Fiori app may call multiple OData services, each requiring different authorization objects. The app Manage Purchase Orders does not just need one authorization. It needs access to purchasing, accounting, and vendor master objects, depending on which features the user accesses within the app. Second, Fiori uses a tile catalog role hierarchy. A user gets a business role, which contains catalogs, which contain tiles, which point to apps. SOD conflicts can be hidden at any layer. Third, cross-application navigation in Fiori means a user might start in one app and seamlessly navigate to another without realizing they have crossed a duty boundary. Your SOD analysis must account for this navigation chain, not just individual app access. The foundation of Fiori SOD analysis is a mapping table that connects each Fiori app to its underlying authorization objects. Here is how to build it. Start with the Fiori Apps Library at fioriappslibrary.hana.ondemand.com. For each app in your scope, note the app ID, the required OData services, and the listed authorization objects. Next, validate the mapping in your system. Open transaction SU24 for a test user with the app's business role, and check which authorization objects are actually checked when the user opens the app, or the RESTful application programming model, because these apps often have authorization controls defined in behavior definitions rather than traditional authority checks. Document the mapping in a structured format: app ID, app name, OData services, authorization objects, activity values. This mapping becomes the input for your SOD conflict rules. With your app-to-authorization mapping complete, you can build the conflict matrix. A conflict matrix defines pairs of activities that should never be assigned to the same user. In Fiori, think of these as apps. For example, create supplier and approve purchase order is a classic procurement conflict. In Fiori terms, this means app F0342 and app F0345 should not both be accessible to the same user. Structure your matrix with risk levels: critical, high, and medium. Critical conflicts involve financial fraud risk, like creating vendors and approving payments. High conflicts involve data integrity risk, like maintaining material masters and posting goods receipts. Medium conflicts involve operational risk, like changing delivery schedules and confirming shipments. For each conflict pair, document the two Fiori app IDs, the conflicting authorization objects, the risk level, the business process affected, and the recommended mitigation control if the conflict cannot be eliminated. SAP GRC Access Control version 12 and later supports Fiori-aware risk analysis. First, import your Fiori conflict matrix into GRC as custom rules. Map each Fiori app ID to its authorization objects in the GRC rule definition. Second, configure the Fiori connector in GRC to pull user role assignments from your Fiori front-end server. This allows GRC to analyze not just back-end role assignments, but also Fiori catalog and tile-level access. Third, Enable automated provisioning workflows. When a user requests access to a new Fiori app through the GRC Access Request Management, or ARM, the system automatically checks for SOD conflicts against your Fiori-specific rules before the request is approved. GRC 12.0 Fiori connector availability. Confirm minimum version and required support packs. Auditors need evidence, and Fiori SOD compliance requires, first, the SM20 security audit log captures successful and failed authorization checks at the system level. Configure SM20 to log all critical authorization object checks related to your SOD rules. Use the new format log file for better search performance. Second, read access logging, or RAL, tracks when users view sensitive data in Fiori apps, not just when they change it. This is critical for compliance frameworks like GDPR and SOX that require evidence of who accessed personal or financial data. Configure RAL per Fiori app in transaction RAL-PH. Third, combine these logs with GRC's SOD violation reports to create a compliance package. The package should show current SOD violations, active mitigation controls, user access changes over the audit period, and evidence from SM20 and RAL that mitigations are working. This gives auditors a complete picture of your Fiori SOD posture. Not every SOD conflict can be eliminated. Some organizations legitimately need users with overlapping access. For these cases, mitigants are required. Common mitigation controls for Fiori include approval workflows that require a second user to authorize sensitive transactions, dual control configurations in the app logic, periodic access reviews where managers certify that their team's Fiori access is still appropriate, and monitoring controls that trigger alerts when a user performs both sides of a conflict within a defined time window. The key is making mitigations auditable. Every mitigation control should generate a log entry that auditors can review. In GRC, assign mitigation controls to each accepted SOD violation and configure periodic recertification to ensure mitigations remain valid. Let us summarize your action plan. Step 1. Build the Fiori app to authorization object mapping using the Fiori apps library in transaction SU24 validation. Step 2. Create a Fiori-specific SOD conflict matrix with risk-rated app pair rules. Step 3. Import these rules into SAP GRC Access Control and configure the Fiori connector. Step 4. Enable preventative SOD checks in the access request workflow. Step 5. Configure SM20 and RAL for audit-ready evidence collection. Start with your highest-risk processes, typically procurement, finance, and HR, and expand from there.